Hey everyone, welcome back. It is cocktail hour today. Our drink this afternoon is the Singapore Sling. This is a drink from the early 1910s from Singapore, which is awesome based on our experience with the Bronx cocktail the other day. Can never be too sure. So this does come from Singapore. It comes from the Raffles Hotel. We do know that as well. The bartender there threw a bunch of stuff together in approximation of a gin sling, which was a cocktail at the time. A sling being a term for a cocktail that has soda water in it. It was popular in the United States at the time. It was brought over and made popular in Singapore. It's a light, refreshing cocktail. It has a tremendous amount of variations and has grown and evolved over the years. So this cocktail has been made a lot of different ways. I'm going to use the way that I like to do it. You see a lot of different ingredients in this. Sometimes it's lemon juice instead of lime juice. If you're drinking Singapore Slings in the early 2000s or late 90s, you probably had a whole bunch of grenadine in it if it was made in the United States, because we bastardized the hell out of this one for a while. Benedictine is an addition after somewhere around the 2000s, and now it's very popular to use Benedictine. So it actually wasn't in the original cocktail, but is pretty much considered standard nowadays. A lot of different ways to do this. So, yeah, we'll get into my way. Let's do it. First and foremost, gin. And this is something that's been in the cocktail no matter what. You always need gin for this, so at least we're consistent here. Since we have a cocktail that originated in Singapore, I'm going to go right for my Bombay Sapphire East, which has a lot of those more Thai type flavors that I think will play nicely in here. The second ingredient that we'll need, and another one that's been since the cocktail originated, would be cherry brandy. The Luxardo Maraschino is probably a little too dry and earthy for this one. Luxardo makes a great cherry brandy that is more full and sweet in flavor. But a good Kirschwasser or Kier is just fine. That's what I'm going to use today, is Hiram Walker's Kirschwasser. We're also going to need some B&B, Benedictine here. This is a really cool herbal liqueur that I don't think gets quite enough credit. It's a decent substitute for things like chartreuse or absinthe, but it's a little softer on the licorice, a little bit more herbal, and a touch sweeter. So something that I really like to play around with. Love this stuff. I should probably use it more than I do. And there are a lot of recipes that call for orange juice. I don't think necessarily that's appropriate for me in here, but I do like to get a little bit of orange characteristic with my Grand Marnier. This adds just a little base note and that touch of orange, that's the word I'm looking for, a touch of orange that I think really rounds this all together. Bitters is another sort of, sometimes it's in the recipe and sometimes it's not. You probably know me by now. I would prefer to have it in there. So I'm going to use a combination, because I can't help it, for Mr. Lee's Ancient Chinese Secret and some Ango. We'll use a little bit of both of those for this. But as per usual, if you just have Angostura, that's perfect. Non-alcoholic team today will consist of some pineapple juice, soda water, which we'll need after the fact, and fresh squeezed lime juice. A lot of ingredients, a lot of things happening today, but we'll make our way through it. Shaken cocktail today, of course. We'll start out with our gin. 1.5 ounces of gin today. We've got a lot of different alcoholic mixtures to go into this, so we're not going to completely blow you away here. So 1.5 ounces there. I'm going to then go 3/4 ounce of my cherry brandy. I'm going to do 1/2 ounce each of Benedictine and Grand Marnier. This is where you're going to get most of your sweetness from in this cocktail. Again, some recipes do have grenadine. If you build it this way, I don't think you need it. 3/4 ounce of pineapple juice. half an ounce of our lime juice. And I'm going to go a couple dashes of Angostura and a couple dashes of Ancient Chinese Secret. If you're just using Ango, about 3 dashes. Add our ice. Shake this up. There we are. We're going to be in a highball glass today. Strain that in. Get us almost all the way up. That looks good. Top that up with my soda water. Just like that. And of course, as per usual, just a quick little poke stir, get all that incorporated together. Garnish today, I'm going to use some maraschino cherries and a little twist of orange. So we'll start with the orange. Give that a quick express over the top. I'm going to leave this as long as it is and cut it into a nice wide strip. Grab my skewer, grab one side of it, take a cherry, come on there with it as well. Fold that right around, come back just so that it's got a nice pretty presentation here. We'll set that right in the top of the cocktail, grab a straw, and we've made ourselves a Singapore Sling. And again, this is a hugely varied cocktail. You can make it a bunch of different ways, but when you make it this way, you get a lot of depth of flavor. We're getting some really nice, that cherry brandy and the Benedictine are building into something that's quite a bit more than the two of them have to offer themselves. It's certainly not too sweet. The pineapple is a nice mid palate. And it finishes up nice and tart. It's snowed about a foot today, and this will keep those thoughts on the summertime for you.